Welcome to TMZ Live. Divorce can be tough. Just ask Kim Kardashian, who says she got a brain aneurysm. It was so bad, the stress she suffered at the hands and really the head of Kanye West.
Yeah, I don't know how medically sound that information is from Kim, but that is what she says on the new season of The Kardashians. And she had a test done and got this news, and almost immediately, at least the way it's cut in the clip, she goes, this is all has to do with the stress of divorcing Kanye and continuing to live with Kanye because they have kids together. This is the moment where she found out her diagnosis.
There's like a little aneurysm. Whoa. They're like, just stress. And I'm like, people think that I have the luxury of walking away.
This week has been the hardest week of my life.
I'm happy it's over. My ex will be in my life no matter what. We have 4 kids together.
Last night, I was like, why is this happening?
So I got to say that medically, because we were looking this up today, stress really can trigger a lot of problems, including that. That doesn't mean it ruptures, but it can create all sorts of problems.
I don't even know
the word stress is in there when you start.
Listen, I looked on the Mayo Clinic's site. I didn't see the word stress. Trauma.
Well, okay, however you want to put it. Look, here's the deal.
The bottom line is she had it.
And it wasn't just the divorce, because, look, I know this, that a long time before she filed for divorce, she wanted to. It had gotten so bad. And she wouldn't do it because she didn't think he was stable enough to handle it. So she was really sticking it out for him and did it for months and months and months and months before she finally.
No one is going to argue that she was in a.
And it was a nightmare. It was a nightmare.
It was an absolute nightmare. It was stressful. It was traumatic. Did it cause an aneurysm?
Trauma. Well, it is traumatic.
It is also something that you can be genetically disposed to.
This is also kind of a short clip, right? This is just the trailer for season 7 of The Kardashian Show on Hulu. And she does talk about other issues that she's had related to stress. Of course, she's, talking about her tumultuous divorce with Kanye West, and this is kind of all following her journey through that. She said that, she's always had psoriasis, which is a skin issue. She says that she had a flare-up, a really bad flare-up, because of all the stuff that
can happen.
Kanye.
That can happen.
Yep, and then she also reveals that she believes she had Stockholm syndrome, sticking around with Kanye and, trying to make believe that everything's okay.
Well, not just believe everything's okay, but believe that if there's any fault, it's hers.
Right. So she's kind of just unloading all the things that she's now looking back at and being like, wow, I really went through a lot, and is opening up about that.
Yeah, and look, she continues to. This is not over. Like you said, they have 4 kids.
Right.
So they're going to be attached for the rest of their lives. But they have a clause in their divorce that they're supposed to go to private mediation if there's a conflict. He has never respected that.
That's not worked out either.
Never respected that.
And we know on at least one occasion that they did have the mediation, and then he just ignored what came out of the mediation.
Ignored it, and then went public to boot on what he was doing. So she has, now she has the kids almost all the time. Kanye has not been a present parent with the kids, and in a way, that's kind of a blessing for her because they're not being shuttled back and forth. But again, she has always left the door open whenever he wants. But
we also don't know, by the way, this is, it's a teaser, so we don't know when this happened, when she got the diagnosis. I'm guessing they treated it with medication. We didn't hear of her having any emergency brain surgery. So.
And even recently,
and she's been fine.
She's been out on the red carpet, traveling. She's in Paris right now.
I don't think we've not seen her.
Right.
I mean, I don't think there's been any extended period where she's not been present.
So it's safe to say that she's going to be okay, I think.
And the doctors look fabulous in their skins.
The doctors are not.
That's the takeaway.
I mean, they might be.
Yeah, they might be.
Hi, I'm Araya from Virginia, and honestly, with all of the different rants that Kanye West has been on, all of the different publicity stunts that he's done, I can only tend to have empathy for her. I wish her the best in a recovery, but this has been a tremendous thing that anybody has to experience. I mean, I don't wish that on anybody.
And by the way, she wakes up every day knowing that who knows what's going to happen today, who knows what he's going to say. So that's definitely a daily stressor.
There are no plans. There are no parenthood plans. It blows up when it blows up.
Right. So what's Diddy thinking about his future? Obviously, in the immediate future, I'm sure he's thinking, I hope I get this commutation from the president, which we told you the president is considering. There's ongoing debate about that within the White House. But at some point, whether it is next week, next month, or 2 years from now, Diddy is going to have an opportunity to continue
His life.
His life. And can he actually be successful? Will the public and other people in his industry forgive his transgressions and give him a second or maybe even third chance at this point? Well, we spoke to someone.
We spoke with Mark Garagos, who is my
he the co-host of a podcast?
of the Two Angry Men podcast.
Oh, that's where I know
But
him
also
from.
Diddy's longtime lawyer.
Oh, that
and you know, we wanted to talk to him about that, and also, you know, the White House came out and said fake news to our story that Trump is vacillating, but could decide on commuting his sentence as early as this week. That Diddy could be a free man by then. Here's what he said at the airport.
There's a lot of news coming out. We reported a story about a pardon.
Yes.
Yeah.
All I'll tell you is I think your story was accurate. I'll leave it at that.
Well, I mean,
So-
this week some decision will be made. What's the feeling?
I have no idea about timing. All I know is everything that I read in that article looked accurate. I have the utmost confidence in Sean. I think Sean will make a comeback, the likes of which people are not expecting. So I've watched him over. I've known him for a long time. I have the utmost confidence in him.
in whatever sphere. I mean, he's done
He's
the
done.
business, the
He's
music,
iconic
the
in a
fashion.
lot of ways, and I think he'll make a comeback. I'll leave it at that.
You don't think that he'll lose some fans, or you think?
And you know, part of character is when you fall down, you get back up.
Can I tell you what was really revealing about that?
And he calls him Sean, that you can tell he's known him for a very long time.
I know that.
Right.
But when he said, the likes of which you will never see, those are Trump's words. The likes of which you've never seen. He says it all the time. And Garagos used those, very Trumpy. Very Trumpy.
Yeah, very. I mean, I think it's not entirely unsurprising what he's saying about Diddy making a comeback, though. That is what you expect his lawyer to say, but he's sort of manifesting it, putting it out in the universe. I think he's kind of right. Memories are short. We talked about this in the morning meeting about Michael Milken, who now has one of the most sterling reputations you can have. His name is on, schools and so forth.
By the way, he's a guy that went to prison in the whole junk bond scandal in the 80s. Everybody wrote him off for, he's going to be hiding for the rest of his life.
That's right.
I agree with you.
He served time, and it doesn't always happen, but it can happen.
Memories are short, but video is forever.
That's right.
And that's going to be his challenge. I just...
The Cassie video you can never unsee, but he will serve some time, notwithstanding if there's a pardon or whatever. But, he's gone through a lot, and he was mostly found not guilty on the most serious charges. So there's a chance he emerges from this like a phoenix. He's iconic in many ways, as Garagos said.
But I think during the trial, part of the reason there were so many people who felt he should have been found guilty, regardless of what happened in the trial, is because they were thinking about that video.
But the rage,
he's also in the latter portions.
The rage people feel today, it's just so interesting the way it subsides. I mean, I remember during Johnny and Amber, how there were so many people who were outraged at Amber Heard. I don't think that exists anymore. I think if Amber Heard came back to the United States, she'd get jobs.
Although Johnny Depp hasn't really rebounded completely because he was at the end of his career like Diddy. So that analogy doesn't really help.
That may be more him than the whole trial and everything else, because he won that trial. But I'm saying if Amber came back today, everybody wrote her off. She went to Spain because she thought, I'm just done in the U.S. If Amber Heard came to the United States today,
she'd have roles.
She would get roles, and I think people would embrace her.
But Amber Heard hasn't come back.
But I think
that should be.
But he's saying counterfactually, if she did, he thinks she'd have a role.
She hasn't because it's her choice. But if she did, I really believe she could get roles.
And I think she doesn't believe that, because if she did, she would come back.
Then she should listen to me.
She'd hire as an agent.
I think that Diddy's fear of what happened to him is just proof that he knows what he did to Cassie. He knows it was abusive. And his biggest fear is being on the receiving end of that same treatment that he gave to her, like all abusers.
Yeah, I mean, look, he did what he did. You can never undo that. But you know,
And
look at Michael. Look at Michael Vick. Wait, I can give you a look at Chris Brown. Look at Chris Brown. We have an image of Rihanna after that beating.
Right.
He's filling venues again, and everybody wrote him off back then. Do you know what I mean? There was an image there too, and yet
This is true.
look at Chris Brown.
This is true. I guess the difference is, one, I mean, it's been a long time for Chris Brown, right? It's been a long time since that happened. And Chris Brown is an artist who's out there making music. That's not Diddy. That part of Diddy's career long behind him. And maybe that's going to make it easier for him.
Right.
Coming up.
This was not the headline that the NBA wanted on its opening week. FBI raids that netted the head coach, Chauncey Billups, as well as a Miami Heat player, Terry Rozier, for two different gambling schemes. Why would well-paid players and coaches get involved?
With the mafia.
Be right back.
This was not the headline that the NBA wanted on its opening week of the regular season. FBI raids that netted the head coach of the Portland Trail Blazers, Chauncey Billups, taken into custody, as well as a Miami Heat player, Terry Rozier.
This is an insane story.
Gambling for two different, according to the feds, two different gambling schemes. One involving illegal poker games, and another involving actual point shaving in NBA games. And
it involves organized crime, according to the feds.
4 of the 5 mafia families on the East Coast, they were involved in this, and they total of more than 30 arrests in both of these investigations. Big news conference this morning with the FBI Director Kash Patel and the U.S. Attorney for the Eastern District of New York. This is a huge deal and an ugly, ugly thing for the NBA.
And shocking.
Let's start with the allegations of what went down in the alleged poker scheme. Chauncey Billups is accused of basically helping these crime organizations lure what they called whales or fish to a game of cards. And obviously, hey,
they're the victims.
Come sit down with Chauncey, play cards. While they basically rigged the game. According to the feds, there was X-ray tables, there was contact lenses, there was hidden cameras. They had secret signs that they would use with one another.
Did they say how much they were betting?
According to these court documents, Chauncey Billups netted $50,000 from one of the games. So it's tens of thousands of dollars.
But they said that's what he got just to show up.
They said one man allegedly lost $1.7 million, and in total there was over $7 million in losses from the gambling, the card games.
So we should make it clear to our audience, if you're not an NBA fan, like Chauncey Billups is he's a Hall of Famer. He's an NBA champ.
NBA Finals MVP.
Coach. Yeah, MVP.
Yeah.
Did they have a plant, like an FBI plant during the game? Is that how they busted them?
They haven't said yet how they figured out, but they've obtained a bunch of text messages and stuff that show pretty clearly, in my opinion, that this was going on. But yeah, they haven't said how.
So what's the other scheme? So that's the one.
The other scheme involves, according to the feds, Terry Rozier and others, basically giving their co-conspirators information that nobody else had access to in order to make bets. So, for example, Terry Rozier allegedly pulled himself from a game early with a supposed injury and told his co-conspirators that, hey, I'm going to pull myself in the third quarter, bet the under. So all of his rebounds, points, assists, totals were way under, and they bet big money on it, and then they obviously win when he pulls himself out.
So how is organized crime involved?
That he told, well, the mafia is only for the poker. They're
for
not,
the poker games.
According to the feds, they're not involved in, these were just close friends or acquaintances, what they call co-conspirators of Rozier or the other
And this is New York Mafia.
Yeah, well, New York Mafia is involved in the poker, but when it comes to the point shaving, it's just normal people that are involved in gambling.
It is fascinating and startling. I think for most people, when you saw these headlines, you go how in the world are NBA players and coaches who make a lot
Right.
of money.
Terry
Why would
Rozier's
they
made
get
like
involved?
$160+ million in his career. The NBA, the Professional Sports League, they shunned gambling for so long, and now they've finally accepted it. This is the type of thing that can take down an entire league.
So why would well-paid players and coaches get involved?
With the
our
mafia.
guest-
With the mafia.
Yeah, with the mafia. So how does that go down? How does that happen? Our guest has some information about this because in the past he's been involved in it. Michael Franzese was a member of the mafia and got players to get involved in some of these schemes in the past. And he is joining us now with a very unique insight into the biggest story of the day. Michael, welcome to TMZ Live.
Appreciate it. Thanks for having me, guys.
Michael, this sounds so ignorant because it's obviously not true, but I thought the mafia had kind of gone on the wane, that it wasn't really a thing after Gotti. But obviously I'm wrong. They just haven't been getting the kind of headlines that we were used to seeing. So how vibrant is the mafia these days?
They're not going away in my lifetime. You know, I think they got a bit smarter ever since all the, this RICO statute came out. So many guys went down. John Gotti, was so outspoken. They realized that they had to go undercover. They couldn't exist like that. But to think that they've gone away is really silly. I mean, they're there, they're alive, they're well, they're thriving in many ways. And, now we're seeing some of it.
So, Michael, how the thing that shocks people about this, you have Chauncey Billups, who is a Hall of Famer. And I understand the games that he was allegedly involved in were in 2019, in between his playing career and starting his coaching career. But certainly a guy who's made a lot of money. How do you get players who are making millions in some cases to get involved in something like this?
I don't think you understand the level of gambling among professional athletes, even college athletes. And I've been doing this for 30 years since they recruited me. All the leagues recruited me out of prison, back in 1994, because they knew they were having such a problem. And I had a number of bookmakers working for me. The FBI filled them in on that. So they chose me to come and speak to the players and try to dissuade them from getting involved with organized crime. You don't realize, gambling is an extension of their competitive nature. It raises the stakes in the competition. These guys get themselves in so much trouble. Doesn't matter how much money they make. And, let me use Michael Jordan as an example. There was a time when I said Michael had a real gambling problem because he gambles on everything. And I've witnessed it in certain cases when I was working with the NBA. But, he came out in that thing that he did, the documentary on him, and he said, I don't have a gambling problem. I have a competition problem. In Michael's case, it's true because he gambles like crazy, but he can overcome it. It doesn't affect his lifestyle.
Right.
Part of it. But many of these guys just can't do it because they gamble big and they lose big. And when they lose big, they try to make it up in certain ways.
So when you have a situation like this, and I'm not going to presume guilt here, but if it turns out to be true, do these players know they're dealing with organized crime, or are the organized criminals smart enough to kind of disguise that, and that the players never really know they're dealing with the mafia?
No, they know it. But look, you got to see guys in that life, they're smooth. You're in trouble. You come to me, at the time, say, look, I want to help you out. I don't want to hurt you. I'm never going to put you in trouble. I'm not going to tell on you. You know who I am. Let's do this together. I'll make some money from you. I'll make some money for you. You make some money for me. So they know who they're dealing with. It's not, look, the way guys carry themselves, automatically that you're dealing with somebody on the street.
Would you say, Michael, it's more common that players are getting involved just because it's an easy way to make money, or are they getting involved because they have to get out from under a gambling debt that they've accumulated over some time?
It's both. And I can tell you, because I've done some recent work with mostly colleges lately, but a lot of them are resentful, that the NFL and certain other, leagues are involved heavily in gambling. And they're resentful of that. And I've heard some players have talked to me about it, and they say, you know what, why can't we gamble? We're told not to gamble. We should be able to gamble. And, I've said this for consistently over the years. The more access you have to gambling, the more people are going to get involved in it, and the more people are going to get in trouble. There's no question about it. The leagues now have basically adopted gambling. They're saying, hey, it's okay. You can gamble. And you can't give people access like that.
What do you think about, it's weird that this indictment comes down the day after the NCAA announced that its players can now gamble, not on college sports, but on pro sports.
You know what?
It seems.
I'm wondering if it was timing, if, the FBI and DOJ, if they did time it for that. I wouldn't be surprised. But yeah, look, the more access.
They clearly did. They clearly did.
It just seems like a really bad idea on the NCAA's part, right? I don't know. Because yes, you're saying they can't bet on college games, they can bet on pro games, but the people playing in the pros, some of them are their friends who just graduated the year before. So I don't know. Seems like they're inviting trouble.
Listen to this. This is an important. I've spoken at over 300 Division I and II universities over the past 30 years. All the student athletes. When I leave, I tell them, listen, if you got a gambling problem, email me. I don't work for the NCAA. I don't report to anybody. I'm my own guy, and I want to help you out. Guys, this has not failed yet. By the time I get back to my hotel room, I have emails from students that are having trouble with gambling. Wow. Either themselves or somebody, they make believe it's somebody that they know or whatever. And now you're giving them more access. So what's going to happen? They're going to.
Michael, we really appreciate your insight, man. It is a world that people kind of just see in movies, but it's happening in real life.
And it's not going to stop. Trust me, the more access, you got to understand something. Organized, I was a little bit insulted because they got 4 families involved in this investigation back in New York, but it wasn't
not yours.
You were the Colombo family. They were not involved.
Oh my God.
So either we got real smart and we were, able to avoid the investigation, or something's not going good there. Who knows? Either way.
We're sorry for your loss.
Thank you, Michael.
Thanks a lot. Take care.
Coming up.
Well, just when you thought maybe that there was a bit of warming in the Beckham family, guess what? I think Romeo Beckham has just thrown a big wrench in the works by posting a photo with Kim Turnbull.
Be right back.
TMZ's got every freaking thing. Big celebs, big stories, big events.
BB Rexa was looking hot on vacation.
Look at the water, too.
Did you just say, look at the water?
I mean, I'll be honest, that is what I was looking at.
TMZ.
Well, just when you thought maybe that there was a bit of warming in the Beckham family, we heard Victoria on the Call Her Daddy podcast saying that she offers all this advice to her kids, and that maybe there's a chance that they're going to bring things back together.
She never said there was anything wrong, but we know
she wouldn't acknowledge it, but we know there is. Guess what? I think Romeo Beckham has just thrown a big wrench in the works by posting a photo with Kim Turnbull. And you may go, it's a big deal. Who's Kim Turnbull? Well, Kim Turnbull is
Helen of Troy.
Exactly. The Helen of Troy for the Beckham family, because this is the woman that Romeo had been dating. They broke up, but he posted a photo with her, so people are thinking, are they back together?
Well, no, we should explain.
I know. The reason that it was a big deal.
Brooklyn Beckham had been dating her previously.
Right.
And it
had
caused
some
a
sort of relationship with her.
Huge rift in the family.
Right.
Well, now he seems back with her.
And that means all bets are off, I'm guessing, because this isn't going to sit well. Clearly won't sit well with Brooklyn. The question is whether David and Victoria are ever going to step in and squash this, because to this point, they haven't.
I don't think they're going to, because I had spoken to someone at the beginning of the week, and they said Brooklyn and Nicola are living this incredible life. She's working on a new project, and they're just kind of at this place where they're if they reach out, fine, but they're not going out of their way to reach out anymore.
They're just fine with
and the person actually was texting me a little bit yesterday, and they were even more not upset, but they had pointed out how she had gone on that Victoria had gone on the Call Her Daddy podcast. And they asked her very briefly about the family feud. And from Brooklyn and Nicola's side,
they're referred to it as a feud.
Right, and they're these questions were totally pre-prepared. How do you get an interview with Victoria Beckham and not ask about the family feud?
Well,
right.
Somebody in this family, I'm sorry, but
Someone's got to be the adult.
Well, here's the adult way of looking at it. If Brooklyn breaks up with this girl and, Romeo wants to date her, he doesn't own that girl anymore. And the whole idea that you can't do it because you're related is so ridiculous to me. This
living
is
with your
so
rose-colored
insane.
glasses. Take them off.
Take
them off.
No, it's
because
insane.
In no family is anyone going to be like, oh, it's cool, but sure, bro, you can date
Why? Why?
Why?
This bro code thing is stupid. It's stupid.
If you want to say bro code shouldn't exist just between friends, but when you're actually bros, there has to be a code.
What skin is it off Brooklyn's teeth if Romeo is dating that girl?
Too,
but remember, Brooklyn didn't even date her. It was like a once or twice hookup. They weren't really even like boyfriend and girlfriend.
Which makes it even more ridiculous. But even if they did date, it's like
Brooklyn questions her motives, right? Whatever his experience was
his
with
whole
her,
thing was,
he questions her motives.
His whole thing was, does she want to be a part of the Beckham family name? She has access to the money.
Oh my God, please.
That's how he interpreted it.
First of all, Romeo hasn't married her.
Correct.
So it's not like they're getting married and she's got her claws in their bank accounts.
They broke up and now they may be back together, so...
This is a ridiculous concept that you can't date somebody that, even if it's a relative, if it's history, it's an Etch-a-Sketch. That's the way I see it.
You have no idea
Etch-a-Sketch.
No idea how a bro code works.
Hi, I'm Jonah from Houston, Texas. And I think Romeo and Kim are both under the age of 25. Their brains are not fully developed. And if the Beckham family doesn't push back and try to, continue to break them up, they're going to just get closer together. Just going to pull them closer together. I think they need to take a step back, allow him to live his life. He is grown. And at the end of the day, if it doesn't work out, just be there to pick up the pieces without saying, I told you so.
No, that's a mature way of looking at it. But the better way is just to eliminate this whole stupid concept.
You know what? Never mind.
Coming up.
Jay Cutler, we told you about the DUI that he got down in Nashville. And now we have the body cam. And it's very evident that...
Does it tell a story?
It does seem like he was this close to just getting this. He could have gotten away with it.
Be right back.
Welcome back to TMZ Live. Jay Cutler, we told you about the DUI that he got down in Nashville. And now we have the body cam. And it's very evident that...
Does it tell a story?
It does seem like he was this close to just getting this. He could have gotten away with this.
If he would have zipped it, he probably would have skated.
You remember what happened was he had basically a fender bender with another driver, and that driver wanted to exchange information. Jay was not as willing, and this is what happened.
Which vehicle is yours? The Ram right there? Okay.
Y'all are each going to take pictures of the damage, and then you can call the insurance companies, okay? Yes, sir.
What damage?
There is a small dent right here.
So, you need to take pictures, or I did?
Hey, sir, can I ask you a question? How much alcohol have you had today?
None.
Don't lie to me. I'm an advanced roadside impairment and detection enforcement officer.
Yeah.
How much alcohol have you had today?
A little bit.
Okay. Are you willing to do some field sobriety tests for me to make sure you're okay to drive?
No.
Put your hands on your back.
Yeah.
Oh.
See,
if he wouldn't have mouthed off and he would have just said, yeah, we'll take pictures, I don't think the cop would have done.
Then they don't even call the cops because it wasn't that big of an accident.
Even the cop said it's a little dent.
But you could hear when he started talking about it, he slurred, and that's when the officer pounced.
Well, get this, his blood alcohol level.
Right.
Oh, what was his BAC?
It was 0.23, which is almost 3 times.
3 times the legal limit. I'm amazed that he got as far as he did.
I agree.
Because that is...
Right.
That they didn't.
Right. We've seen other people on body cams with that level of blood alcohol, and they are gone usually. Yeah.
Gone. And so he, first of all, he should not be driving.
Shouldn't have been driving, clearly.
I mean, that is just outrageous. And there's a reason he said no. I won't take that test.
Yeah, because he knew what it was going to be.
He knew exactly what he had done.
Right.
So the weird thing about it is he's conscious enough to know I shouldn't let them have me take that test, but yet
he didn't
just shut up.
He didn't just shut up and exchange information with the guy and
That's
keep
right.
it moving.
That's right.
And not realizing the last thing you wanted was for the police to show up. But again, that's the whole point of alcohol,
And
right? You don't make rational decisions when you're on a...
Right, and he ended up, he
Couple of
loses
days
his
in
license
jail.
for a year, but he does 2.5 days in jail.
And
Nobody
by
wants
the
to be
way,
in jail.
he lost his license for refusing to take
Yes,
that test.
Exactly.
Which
There
is
was
the
a-
case in just about every
Right,
state.
right.
And
There
what-
was a
what
fine
else-
as well.
what else ended up happening?
There was a couple $100 fine. He loses his license for a year. He was sentenced to 4 days in jail. He ultimately served 2.5 days before he was released.
And you know, I'm not saying it's going to happen here, but these DUIs can have a real impact on custody if there's ever a custody flare-up.
Yeah.
So that it has impact that goes way beyond a case like this.
Jenna in Chicago, and I have two thoughts in regards to this. One, how stupid are people who get DUIs, especially when Uber and Lyft are so easily accessible at the tip of your fingers, let alone from a man who made millions of dollars playing in the NFL. Like, you could have hired your own personal driver whenever you wanted to. And Jay really believed that he was as slick as a fart, telling that officer that he had been drinking while the officer could smell it completely on his breath.
That he hadn't been drinking, right?
You could tell that as soon as he started mouthing off to the officer, that officer got a whiff. And
Boy, I
it
bet you he
changed.
got sober real quick when the officer walked over and said, "How much have you had to drink?"
Oh man. Uh-oh.
Well, Jelly Roll's got a lot of great things going on in his life right now. We just talked about the fact that he's lost more than 200 pounds.
Which is nuts. Look at him.
And I guess when things are going well, you want to look back at some of the things that didn't necessarily go so well, maybe just to make sure it doesn't happen again. What he opened up about on the Human School podcast was cheating on his wife, Bunny XO. Here's what he had to say about it and why he so deeply regrets it.
One of the worst moments of my adulthood was when I had an affair on my wife, because it was the first time that I was like, I really can't get this right at all. Like, I know I'm in love with this woman. You know what I mean? Like, it was just such a, like, it just really, really, really blew me back. And I did a lot of work to repair that relationship. You know what I mean? Like, the repair has been special, man. We're stronger than we could have ever been. And I wish our story would have went in the way that it never had an affair. And I'm in no way glad it happened. But man, I'm proud of who we are today. I was hanging around a bunch of people that were cheating on their wives. I was, you know, like, when I was doing cocaine, I was hanging around a bunch of people that were doing cocaine.
So they broke up for a couple of years.
No, not years. So this happened back in 2018. So this was actually before
Well, they had only been married 2 years by then.
Yeah, so they split briefly.
I thought they had split for a while.
No, it wasn't a while. They briefly split and basically worked through their issues and whatnot. But like I said, this was 2018. So this wasn't like current Jelly Roll. He wasn't even really like anyone in 20. I mean, he still was a touring musician, but he's getting skinnier now, and he's one of the biggest stars in the world. And so Bunny has been getting trashed on social media.
Why?
People are coming for her, being like, how could you go back to a guy who cheated on you? And so she's been defending herself. One of the comments she said, actually takes a stronger woman to face pain head on, do the work, and rebuild with the man she loves. So she's standing by him, obviously, and not listening to the hater.
I'm Daniela. I live in Brooklyn, New York. And my thing is, like, look, substance issues are very real and very serious. But what I don't think is okay is making the infidelity part of his wake-up call. Because why should women be treated as collateral damage in a man's journey to self-betterment? I'm not a fan of either of these people, but I think this sets a really bad precedent.
Well, but wait a minute.
I mean, he's acknowledging, but what you just said, he's acknowledging.
It may not work for you, but it works for Bunny, right? I mean, so that's more power to her, right? I mean, it's not like...
I mean, you said it's setting a bad precedent. It's not a precedent. It's a precedent for them, but it doesn't have to be for everybody else.
Right.
I don't know. I think when things happen in the public eye, I think women take notice about how they should, you know, treat themselves in relation to their husbands.
Coming up.
The intolerance of our country just knows no bounds. So now Keke Palmer is getting a lot of heat for a show that she dared to produce about an Asian person who grows up in a black family and goes to an HBCU.
Be right back.
God, the intolerance of our country just knows no bounds. So now Keke Palmer is getting a lot of heat for a show that she dared to produce about an Asian person who grows up in a black family and goes to an HBCU. How dare she portray something like that?
The backlash is what? That she should not be highlighting the fact that there are Asian people and people of other races that go to HBCUs.
White people go. It's just ridiculous.
Well, you know, personally, a lot of the comments that I've seen are people saying that they're upset that the fact that in the Asian community, they have filed lawsuits before against affirmative action, against, they're basically saying these schools these HBCUs and these schools that are pushing affirmative action are taking away our spots. So then people are feeling like for Keke to then go and highlight an Asian person, I won't say infiltrating, but infiltrating a university that was initially made for black students because they couldn't go to institutions other institutions.
Based on a real?
It is. So the writer of this show is Nakia, I forget her last name, but Nakia went to Savannah State University, which is in Georgia, and she said that this show was based on her time at the HBCU. She saw students that were non-black. Nakia Stevens. She saw students that were non-black and saw how they had to navigate going to a black school. As a black creator, she wanted to do a true story. This is her true story.
So Keke, of course, has seen and heard the backlash. Here's what she has to say about it.
Southern Fried Rice was created by Nakia Stevens, and while I can't speak to her inspiration for the show, I can speak to her dedication as a creative. Look, what you like is subjective, but the support of black creatives is not. And it's a task that KTV takes on with pride, because if you want to be a creative, you have to be able to create. And that takes money. And it's KTV's mission to find the funds for you to be in practice, for you to experience trial and error, and to take your projects off the page and get more than one chance to do it in action. So whether you like it all or some or none, I say give these creatives a chance to grow as we continue to grow in supporting them.
We kind of talked about this earlier. Do you want to even address this stuff? Because you're never gonna satisfy.
So you're saying this is the same 5,000 people.
Same 5,000 people.
But she probably wanted to, because she still wants people to tune into this show, and she wants Nakia to get the viewage that she wants to. So she felt like, you know what? Let me just shut it down. Let me come out and say this, and hopefully that turns people back to watch it. Don't detour it just for this.
Hey everybody, it's Ajale from Albany, and honestly, I'm gonna watch the series. It actually looks interesting and right up my alley. I think it's meant to open our eyes to these kind of situations because they do really happen, but I'll have to watch first to decide how I really feel about the whole culture stealing thing. But I do feel like Keke could have done something a little bit more for the culture, especially being that the times we're in. Her saying it's meant to inspire the next generation of creators is cool, but having the main character be Asian kind of throws me off, because I'm all for inclusivity, but sometimes it feels like Black people always have to be the ones to share our spaces or make room for everyone else. I just wish more projects centered us the way we center everybody else.
I hear what you're saying, and I get it, but that would make sense if Keke Palmer didn't do anything else. Like, does everything she does have to be only centered on the Black community, or can she do many things, which she does?
No, absolutely. Like I said, I do think that, inclusivity, I'm all for it. But in the other side of how other people feel, I think I do get that point of it, because, we aren't really used to seeing this, I would say, even though it is out there. But ultimately, I feel like it's just a simple thing of balance, and we have to really see the show to know what it's about.
Yeah, watch the show first, then make your decision.
Coming up.
It seems like it would be a very intimidating role to step into, to play Sylvester Stallone as he's playing Rocky. Anthony Ippolito is the young man who is stepping into that role, and we have the first photos.
He looks like
him.
Sly. Be right back.
It seems like it would be a very intimidating role to step into, to play Sylvester Stallone as he's playing Rocky.
Or before he plays Rocky, as he's writing Rocky, creating it.
Anthony Ippolito is the young man who is stepping into that role, and we have the first photos.
He looks like Sly in 1977.
Yeah.
He looks like him. I mean, it is.
He really does.
Dead on. Dead on. And it's such a good story about Sly being uncompromising, that he actually had sold it to a movie studio that said, we love it, we want to do it, but you're not the right guy, we want to cast somebody else. And he said, I'm following my dream.
Yep.
And he walked away and he did it. And this guy looks just, I got to tell you, I knew him back then. We worked out at the same gym. And on a Friday, he was this dude that I said hey to, and we talked a little bit. And on Monday, he was the most famous guy in the world.
And
because the movie
never
came out.
spoke to him again. Well, many years
decades.
later.
Yeah, now we're buds again.
Coming up.
All right, it is that time of year. If you say it 3 times, Genomine, Genomine, Genomine.
I don't understand.
Turns into Beetlejuice.
Oh,
Because you know what you say, Beetlejuice.
I get it.
Be right back.
All right, it is that time of year. If you say it 3 times, Genomine, Genomine, Genomine.
I don't understand.
Turns into Beetlejuice.
You just lost me on this.
It's a heck of a transformation. What?
If you do something 3 times,
No,
something.
you don't know this is
No.
Beetlejuice.
I know that's Beetlejuice.
Right.
But I was thinking of something else. There's something, a saying or something. If you do something 3 times, something happens.
Bloody Mary, Bloody Mary, Bloody Mary.
Bloody Mary, Bloody Mary,
It's not
Bloody
Bloody Mary.
What happens there?
You mean spit 3 times?
No, not spit 3 times. I don't.
What are you talking about, Melissa?
No, spit. No. I've heard spit 3 times. I've heard that.
When?
No, it's a thing. It's a saying. I don't want to say what I'm going to say because of him. We'll see you tomorrow. And it has to do with clicking your heels 3 times.